In just 90 seconds, one simple question about Ghislaine Maxwell's prison transfer would expose the biggest lie FBI Director Kash Patel ever told Congress. Senator Adam Schiff didn't expect the documents he held. Patel didn't see the trap coming. Cameras captured every second of panic. The Senate chamber erupted into the most explosive shouting match in congressional history. What did Schiff reveal about Maxwell's mysterious move to a luxury prison camp that made Patel lose complete control? On live television, September 16 th, 2025, 2:47 p.m. Hart Senate Office Building. The mahogany-paneled Senate Judiciary Committee chamber crackled with tension that comes before political execution. Senator Adam Schiff sat at his committee desk like a prosecutor who had just discovered the smoking gun that would end a career. His wire-rimmed glasses reflected the harsh chamber lights as he arranged a manila folder that would soon detonate Kash Patel's credibility in front of 47 million live viewers across every network and streaming platform. FBI Director Kash Patel had survived 3 grueling hours of brutal questioning about the botched Charlie Kirk assassination investigation, his controversial firing of senior FBI officials, and the systematically buried Epstein files that had become a political albatross for the Trump administration. His Navy suit remained crisp despite the pressure, his FBI badge gleaming under the television lights, his expression carefully controlled to reveal nothing. He had deflected dozens of hostile questions with the bureaucratic precision of a career intelligence operative, never losing composure, never breaking character as the consummate law enforcement professional who answered only to the Constitution. But Schiff had spent 6 weeks building a trap that Patel never saw coming. The California senator possessed evidence so damning, so irrefutable, that no amount of deflection or bureaucratic double talk could explain it away. Today's evidence would expose Patel's most brazen deception, Ghislaine Maxwell's mysterious transfer from maximum security federal detention to a luxury minimum security prison camp where she could receive regular visitors, make unlimited phone calls, and live in relative comfort while serving her sentence for sex trafficking minors, to some of the most powerful men in the world. The hearing had been contentious from the opening gavel. Republican members had spent their allotted time praising Patel's leadership, highlighting arrest statistics, and attacking Democrats for what they characterized as political persecution of law enforcement. Democratic senators pressed relentlessly on FBI firings, the controversial reassignment of 1,000 agents to immigration enforcement, and the systematic suppression of Epstein-related materials that contradicted the administration's promises of full transparency. But throughout the marathon session, one explosive topic remained conspicuously absent: Maxwell's august transfer to a facility so lenient that federal judges had privately questioned whether it was appropriate for someone convicted of trafficking underage girls to wealthy predators, including foreign intelligence operatives. At exactly 2:47 p.m., Chairman Dick Durbin recognized Senator Schiff for his questioning time. The chamber fell into an expectant hush. Political reporters leaned forward in the press gallery. C-SPAN cameras zoomed in on both men's faces. Everyone sensed that something significant was about to happen, though no one could have predicted the explosive confrontation that would dominate news cycles for weeks. Director Patel, Schiff began, his voice carrying the measured calm of someone who holds all the cards. I want to ask you about a decision made this past August regarding Ghislaine Maxwell's prison placement. The mere mention of Maxwell's name sent ripples through the chamber. Republican members shifted uncomfortably. Democratic staffers exchanged knowing glances. This was territory Patel clearly wanted to avoid. Patel's expression remained carefully neutral, but trained observers could see the micro-expressions that betrayed his sudden discomfort. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. His hands, which had been resting calmly on the witness table throughout 3 hours of testimony, suddenly moved to grip the edges with white-knuckled intensity. His pupils dilated slightly. These were tells that Schiff, with his decades of prosecutorial experience, recognized immediately as signs of a witness preparing to lie under oath. Senator Schiff, Patel replied carefully, his voice steady but lacking the confident authority he had displayed throughout earlier questioning about immigration enforcement and violent crime statistics. I'm not sure I'm familiar with the specific decision you're referencing. Prison placement decisions are typically handled by the Bureau of Prisons, not the FBI. We don't involve ourselves in the day-to-day management of federal correctional facilities. It was a perfectly calibrated evasion, the kind of bureaucratic deflection that creates plausible deniability while technically avoiding a direct lie. It was also the exact response that had worked for him dozens of times before in previous congressional hearings when uncomfortable questions arose. But Schiff had anticipated this exact response and had prepared the trap accordingly. Director Patel, Schiff continued, opening his manila folder with theatrical precision that suggested weeks of careful preparation. Let me refresh your memory with something very specific. He held up a document bearing official FBI letterhead, the distinctive seal clearly visible even from the press gallery. Classification markings, confidential note and law enforcement sensitive, were clearly visible to everyone in the chamber. The document was real, official, and devastating. This is an interagency memorandum dated August 12 th, 2025, authored by you personally, recommending the immediate transfer of federal inmate Ghislaine Maxwell from FCI Tallahassee, a medium security facility, to FPC Alderson, a minimum security camp in West Virginia known for housing white-collar criminals and non-violent offenders. The impact was immediate and devastating. Patel's carefully controlled expression cracked like shattered glass under a hammer blow. His face flushed from pale to crimson in the span of 3 seconds. His mouth opened as if to speak, but no words came out, only a barely audible gasp that the sensitive chamber microphones picked up and transmitted to millions of viewers. Around the chamber, senators and staffers froze mid-motion, recognizing they were witnessing something extraordinary, something that would be analyzed and discussed for years to come. Schiff had just called the FBI director a liar with documentary proof held aloft in his hand, visible to every camera in the room. Senator Patel stammered, his composure completely shattered. I don't recall personally authoring any such memorandum. As I stated, these decisions are made by the Bureau of Prisons in consultation with, but Schiff wasn't going to let him finish the lie. The senator's voice rose with controlled fury as he interrupted. Director Patel, would you like me to read your own words? Schiff's voice carried the moral authority of someone exposing systematic corruption. Quote, for reasons of institutional security and administrative efficiency, I hereby recommend the expedited transfer of inmate Ghislaine Maxwell to a minimum security facility. This transfer should be processed immediately without standard review protocols. Signed, Kash Patel, Director, Federal Bureau of Investigation. The silence that followed was absolute. Every person in that chamber understood what had just happened. The FBI director had lied under oath, and a United States senator had just proven it with the director's own signed document. The implications were staggering. This wasn't a minor inconsistency or a memory lapse. This was perjury, caught in real time on live television. At 2:48 p.m., exactly 61 seconds into Schiff's questioning, Kash Patel did something unprecedented for an FBI director. He completely lost control. That is not what that document says, Patel shouted, his face now completely red, his professional facade utterly destroyed. You are mischaracterizing an internal communication that has been taken completely out of context. But Schiff was relentless, his prosecutorial instincts in full command. Director Patel, this is your signature, correct? He held up the document, zooming in on the signature line for the cameras. This is FBI letterhead, correct? These are your words, correct? Which part of I hereby recommend expedited transfer to minimum security am I mischaracterizing? The logic was inescapable. Patel had 3 choices. Admit he lied about not recalling. The memorandum claimed the document was forged, which would be immediately disprovable, or continue shouting denials that made him look increasingly unhinged. He chose the third option, and it destroyed him. This is outrageous. Patel roared, his voice cracking with rage and panic. You are weaponizing oversight to attack federal law enforcement. That memorandum was part of routine administrative coordination. That you are deliberately misrepresenting for political purposes. The desperation was palpable. He was flailing, throwing out accusations, anything to avoid addressing the central question. Why did you lie about personally ordering Maxwell's transfer to a luxury prison camp? Schiff remained eerily calm, a prosecutor who knows the jury has already turned against the defendant. Director Patel, I'm going to ask you a very simple yes or no question. Did you personally sign a memorandum recommending Ghislaine Maxwell be moved to a minimum security facility? Yes or no? The question hung in the air like a guillotine blade. Patel looked around desperately, searching for help that wasn't coming. Republican members who had been defending him moments earlier were now avoiding eye contact. His staff looked stricken. Chairman Durbin was preparing to intervene, but even he seemed frozen by the magnitude of what was unfolding. Senator Schiff, Patel said, his voice, now barely controlled, trembling with suppressed rage. You are taking a complex interagency process and reducing it to but Schiff cut him off with devastating finality. Director Patel, you testified under oath 90 seconds ago that you don't recall personally authoring any memorandum about Maxwell's transfer. I have your signed memorandum right here. Were you lying then, or are you lying now? At 2:49 p.m., exactly 94 seconds after Schiff began his questioning, the Senate Judiciary Committee chamber erupted into complete chaos. Patel shot to his feet, his chair scraping loudly against the marble floor, his face contorted with rage. I will not sit here and be accused of perjury by someone who has weaponized congressional oversight for partisans. Sit down, Director. Schiff's voice thundered through the chamber with an authority that shocked everyone present. Senators don't usually shout at FBI directors, but Schiff wasn't just a senator anymore. He was a prosecutor dismantling a corrupt official's lies in real time. You will answer the question. Did you sign this memorandum? Yes or no? The two men were now both standing, shouting at each other across the hearing room, with cameras capturing every explosive second. Chairman Durbin banged his gavel repeatedly, but the confrontation had taken on a life of its own. This is disgraceful, Patel screamed, his voice cracking. You are destroying institutional credibility with these political attacks. Institutional credibility? Schiff's voice rose to match Patel's volume. You lied under oath about protecting Epstein's accomplice. You moved a convicted child sex trafficker to a luxury prison camp and then lied to Congress about it. You talk about institutional credibility while you destroy every institution you touch. The chamber was in complete pandemonium. Senators were shouting. Staff members were rushing toward the witness table. Security officers moved closer, unsure whether they needed to physically intervene. The press gallery had erupted into frantic activity as reporters filed breaking news alerts. Social media exploded within seconds, with clips of the shouting match spreading across every platform. But Schiff wasn't finished. Even as Chairman Durbin called for order, even as security officers positioned themselves between the senator and the FBI director, Schiff delivered the knockout blow that would end Patel's career. Director Patel, let me tell you why you moved Maxwell to minimum security. Because she has information about powerful people. Because she was threatening to talk. Because someone told you to make her comfortable so she would stay quiet. And you did it. You signed the order. And then you came here today and lied about it under oath. The accusation was so devastating, so specific, that it silenced the entire chamber. Patel stood frozen, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water, unable to formulate any response. Because Schiff had just connected the dots in a way that was both explosive and undeniable. The mysterious transfer, the expedited processing, the circumvention of normal review protocols. And now the lies about it under oath, it all pointed to a cover-up at the highest levels. Chairman Durbin finally restored order, threatening to clear the chamber if senators couldn't maintain decorum. Both Schiff and Patel slowly sat back down, though the tension remained electric. But the damage was done. In 94 seconds, Adam Schiff had exposed a lie so brazen, so easily proven, that Patel's credibility was destroyed beyond repair. As the hearing continued, Patel tried desperately to recover. He claimed Schiff had misunderstood the memorandum's purpose. He insisted the transfer was recommended for security reasons. He argued that routine administrative communications shouldn't be characterized as direct orders. But every explanation sounded more desperate than the last, and every senator in that room knew they had just witnessed perjury. The aftermath was immediate and catastrophic. Within minutes, #PatelLied was trending worldwide with over 2.3 million tweets. CNN broke into regular programming with FBI director caught in lie about Maxwell transfer under oath. Fox News, despite their usual Trump administration support, Led with explosive Schiff-Patel confrontation rocks Senate hearing, even conservative commentator Ben Shapiro tweeted, "This is bad. Really bad. You can't testify you don't recall something when there's your signature on the document." Social media platforms exploded with reaction. TikTok videos of the 94-second confrontation went viral within hours, accumulating 47 million views by midnight. Twitter's algorithm pushed the clip to trending status in 47 countries. Instagram influencers who normally avoided politics were posting about it. The image of Patel's face turning red became an instant meme, with captions ranging from "When you lie on your resume" to "FBI director discovers consequences." Exist. Conservative commentators who had defended Patel throughout previous scandals fell suddenly silent or began carefully distancing themselves. Tucker Carlson, who had previously called Patel exactly what the FBI needs, opened his show that night with, "We need to talk about what happened in the Senate today. And it's not good." The crack in Trump's media firewall was significant. Legal experts were unanimous. "This is textbook perjury," former prosecutor Ken White told MSNBC. He testified he didn't recall authoring the memorandum. Schiff produced it with his signature. He lied and got caught. Within 48 hours, Bureau of Prisons whistleblowers revealed Maxwell's transfer bypassed security protocols. "We were told this came from the very top," one corrections officer said anonymously. "Move her immediately, no questions, make her comfortable." Maxwell had been given extraordinary privileges, regular phone access, extended visits, minimal supervision. "She should be in maximum security," one prosecutor told ABC. "Instead, she's living like summer camp." Political fallout was swift and bipartisan. Democrats demanded resignation and investigation. Surprisingly, Republican Senator Josh Hawley told reporters, "If Patel lied under oath, that's disqualifying." The White House initially defended him, but within days, Trump stopped mentioning Patel's name, a telling sign he was cutting loose another liability. The 90-second confrontation became required viewing in law schools across the nation as the perfect example of effective cross-examination technique under pressure. Schiff told CNN's Anderson Cooper in a primetime interview, "The FBI director signed an official memorandum moving a convicted sex trafficker to minimum security, then came before Congress and testified under oath he didn't recall it. Those are indisputable facts, not partisan opinions. They demand thorough criminal investigation." By October 2025, Patel's position was untenable. The Maxwell scandal, UFC jet abuse, bungled Kirk investigation, and proven perjury made him the most embattled FBI director in history. Trump began floating replacement names, distancing himself from another toxic loyalist. The 90-seconds when Schiff exposed Patel's Maxwell lie became a defining moment in congressional oversight. It proved documentary evidence and preparation could still hold power accountable. Law schools added it to curriculum as textbook cross-examination. Sometimes the most powerful weapon against corruption isn't partisan rhetoric or theater, it's a senator with a folder, a signed document showing undeniable truth, and courage to call a liar exactly what he is before 47 million witnesses.